last one of them. It does not enter into what we call the legal market or the secondary market until, guess who gets them? Raise your hand. Until we get them. Till the average citizen gets it. Once the average citizen gets it, that's how criminals get their guns. 40% of criminals get their guns from, guess who? Family, friends, and the other 40% get them from, guess what? Your straw purchase. And that straw purchase isn't that movie dealer, etc. You know, that guy that goes around doing it. It's usually this. It's usually, hey, listen, I need you to do me a favor. Listen, you know, I got this little thing here, and I need you to go over to Indiana. Can you buy me a gun? I'll give you $100 just for doing it for me. You can report it stolen, whatever, forget about it. Boom. Happens every day. There's no vast conspiracy. It's not like the movies. You ever go to the movies and they open up the trunk and you see a guy who's selling all those guns? Yeah, no. Most of them come from us. Over 80%. When we have burglaries, guess the one thing that you don't report? Your dad's old gun, that gun that someone gave to you that you never registered because you never knew what to do with it or how to register it, and you really didn't want to be bothered. That's where they come from. And the most popular guns, you know, we like to talk about assault weapons, that being the main issue. No. It's the old 38. It's that old 25 or a 32. These are all smaller guns, handguns. These aren't the very fancy, brand new Glock 19s, 21s. They're not the real fancy guns that you see in the movies. They're those old 6-shooters. That old Saturday Night Special, or that old small 22 that they can carry in their pockets. That's where most of the guns are that we see. So let's talk about this. The difference. People say our guns that we collect, they're not going to make a difference because guess what? They're those old guns in your closet and set, right? They're not the real guns that criminals use, right? Not true. Fact is, the guns that criminals use are the guns that they can get. Second thing, the bad people are still going to get their guns. Okay. You're absolutely right. The bad people are going to always do bad things. That's why we pay taxes and that's why we have police, right? But doesn't mean we have to enable them. We don't have to make it any easier. And a lot of times, those people having guns, you know, that gun that someone keeps in their drawer or they keep up in a closet and they forget about, that's the gun that ends up being the problem. And particularly, it becomes a problem when good people or people who are mad, people who are immature, people who are depressed, when they find that gun. Because those are the guns they use to commit suicide. Those are the guns that end up in domestic violence. Those are the guns where the kids find out, they play with it, and end up shooting their friends. Our very first gun turn-in, the day after, we're all happy. We got 3,000 guns. We're sitting in the conference room over at police headquarters. It's 3:30. No, I'm sorry. It's 9:30. At 10 o'clock, BlackBerry goes off. 2 blocks away, guess what happens? A child finds his dad's gun and ends up shooting himself. These are where these guns are coming from. What we essentially do here with the gun turn-in is we give people the opportunity to do the right things for themselves. Some people are going to be hunters. Some people like guns. Fine. Anybody here drive a motorcycle? Anybody here used to drive a motorcycle? Okay. All right. Why did you stop driving a motorcycle? Besides Jim, because he still rides. Why do most guys stop driving a motorcycle? It's too dangerous. It comes a point in time when that's a risk that you're no longer willing to take. Okay? There are people who come into a realization that, you know what? A gun is not something I'm willing to risk anymore. How do I get rid of it? We give them an opportunity to do that. I'd like to take some questions. I know there's generally tons of questions. So let's open it up. Yes, sir.
Why would it not make sense for all police to be undercover?
Why would it make...
Why would it not make sense for all police to be undercover?
One, people feel better when they see police. So we'll see that at the Boston Marathon yesterday. Believe it or not, people felt better knowing as soon as that explosion happened, there was police all over the place. And there was more police before and there was police there before and more police after. Now, at the same time, I was looking at the footage, and I recognized within 30 minutes, which I'm really amazed and proud of those guys, within 30 minutes, I saw FBI agents out there. I saw what we call our CBRN, which is our chemical, biological, radiological teams out there. Most people didn't see them because you don't recognize them. They're in plain clothes. But people feel better when they see police. And by the way, when you need the police, you got to know who to stop. So it just makes it easier. Yes, sir.
What do you do with the guns after you collect them?
Great question. So every jurisdiction, they have to process it by their own rules. Okay, it can be different. A lot of times, who watches CSI? Guess what? It doesn't happen that way. Sorry to bust the bubble. It doesn't happen that way. They'll process it a certain way. So here's a little known fact. Before '68, guess how many guns have serial numbers? None of them have serial numbers. So we can't, there's no database and et cetera. And by the way, what did I say? Where do criminals get guns? They get that old 38 that your grandfather had, that 45, that 9, and et cetera. So what happens is they'll process it by whatever standards they do. Some might decide to run each and every one of them. I doubt everybody's going to shoot them like they do in CSI because it costs a lot of money. They're eventually destroyed. And you need a judge's order in Chicago at least to do that. Yes, sir.
By logic, it would seem that there would be a percentage of people that would say, hey, I'll get $100. This is great. Maybe I'll get $200, $300 to turn a few in, and then I can go and get a nice, brand new shiny gun. Does that happen?
Okay. I'm sure that happens. But we know a couple things. Number one, if you're going to go get a brand new shiny gun, guess what you're going to do? You have to be.
Register. You have to register.
You're going to have to be registered, and you're going to be a more responsible owner. Okay? Very simple. People bring that up to us all the time. Well, they're just going to go out and get more guns. Okay. So if they had to trade in 7 guns to get 1 gun, I'm plus 6. That's how I look at it. Right.
Where would people generally turn in guns? Even, let's say not from Chicago, but let's say you're in the middle of where do you go? And maybe a lot of people don't want to do it to the police. Is there a recommended methodology that if your program's not around and they don't have $100, I mean, where do you go to get rid of your gun? What's the best way to do it?
That's the reason why we probably have 310 million guns in this country. It's not like a car. So if you're at home and you've got that old car, it's dying, if you're a bachelor living at home, you can throw it on your front lawn until your neighbors kick it out. If you're married, it's going to get towed away. Okay? However, your gun is not the same. A lot of times people don't know what to do with it. So there is no recommendation. You can call a police department and turn it in. Any police department generally is going to take it. Every police department has different procedures. So you can always do that 911. I found a gun in a garbage can behind 7-Eleven. Go get it.